Do you want to do more than follow orders? Think outside of the box and manifest your dreams? Then you've come to the right show. Welcome to the award-winning podcast, Holding Down the Fort by U.S. VetWealth. I'm your host, Jen Amos, a Gold Star daughter, veteran spouse, and entrepreneur. For Season 9, we continue our partnership with the Rosie Network to highlight motivational stories of personal growth, financial awareness, and autonomy in our military community. We're also excited to continue showcasing our partnership with Blue Water Advisors. Now, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope y'all are doing well. I sure am, because it's fall season. If you haven't been following along, I detest summer. Some people will just totally unsubscribe just hearing me say that. You don't like summer? Unsubscribe. Well, I had a whole story about it that I talked about in the post commentary in the trailer episode. So feel free to go back to that episode. What episode was that? I don't know. I remember what the number was. Wait, let me check in case you're curious. You're like, what? Why does she not like summer? Go to episode 206 and listen to the outro and you will hear me talk about it if you care. But anyway, on to episode 212. And this is one of those episodes where I take a break every other week to focus on other initiatives. And, this season has been a really cool season of me adjusting my pace, I would say, to focus on other initiatives in which you will see manifest in 2025. So I'll be talking more about that in the season finale in the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned. But for now, it's been a really, really awesome time to just focus on other things and really have podcasting as a supplementary, marketing tool for everything that I do. And it's been great. That's all I have to say. It's been great. For having published over 200 episodes, 212 at this point, it's been quite a journey. And I will tell you, and if you haven't been following my journey, it's not like I just hungered down and pumped out 212 episodes. It's not like that. It's been a journey in the last 5 years where I've had to find different sources of inspiration to keep the show going. I've had different levels of accountability, sense of responsibility, or just, other forms of motivation to been able to make it this far. I didn't know I was going to make it to 200 plus episodes, by the way. I was just on the journey, and I still am. I'm still very much on the journey. And in this stage of my journey, I am very grateful to be adjusting my pace. Adjusting my pace to focus on other initiatives, which will roll out in 2025. So more on that later. For now, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. I get to take a step back once again to showcase my husband, Scott, from, founder CEO of U.S. VetWealth, and our life insurance case design specialist, Mike Seabolt. So 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Mike Wallace from Blue Water Advisors. So think Wallace Water, like Blue Water Advisors. And then Seabolt is our specialist. So life insurance case design specialist, Mike Seabolt here at U.S. VetWealth. And in this recording, about a couple episodes ago, I believe that was 208, and we talked about alternatives to the survivor benefit plan. So if you are contemplating about the survivor benefit plan, or you're looking to get more information about it, gain a different perspective about the survivor benefit plan, check out that episode. Once again, that is episode 208. This episode is going to be about the Thrift Savings Plan. So if you're sitting on a Thrift Savings Plan and you don't know what to do with it, take a listen to this episode. In this episode, Scott and Mike discuss financial planning strategies for military retirees, highlighting the unique challenges they face in their mid-career transition. So this is military transition. They cover the importance of transforming accumulated assets like the Thrift Savings Plan into guaranteed income streams through financial products such as fixed index annuities. Scott and Mike share insights on how annuities work, their benefits such as zero downside risk and guaranteed lifetime income, and options for increasing income. I like to highlight things that I think are positive. Increasing income based on market performance. Lastly, they address the importance of managing financial risks and securing a stable post-military financial future. So if you have, accumulated this asset, the Thrift Savings Plan, and one, you don't know anything about it, or two, you are in the headspace to learn more about it, then this episode is for you. Go ahead and take a listen. I hope you enjoy it. Or watching. Because I keep forgetting to say this. We're available on YouTube as well. And often these conversations with Scott and Mike, they do some screen share. So feel free, if you're wondering what they're referencing, then all the more reason to go on our YouTube channel and see for yourself. All right, happy listening or watching, and I'll talk to you in the outro. Bye for now.
Hey, Mike, welcome back. How's your week been?
It's been tremendous, man. Been tremendous. I had a ski weekend in Montana last weekend, which was amazing.
Really?
Yeah. I was up in Whitefish, Montana, which is in the very northwestern corner, almost in Canada.
I've never been to Montana.
As I haven't either, dude. It was my first time. It's wide open. There's not a lot of people. There's a lot of space, so I loved it.
Fascinating. No, super cool. No, I didn't realize that. All I knew is you didn't have to deal with the time zone change.
Right.
Well, cool. Well, welcome back. We had a lot of listeners last week, so exciting. And, that's the idea here with these War Chest workshops. We have a lot of conversations with military retirees in their various stages of their military retirement, whether they're planning for it, going through it, and have a lot of decisions to make, or they've kind of been out for a while, gathered some assets, had some jobs, making good income, and realize, hey, we got a plan for the kind of next retirement. And that's really the whole point with what we do at US VetWealth is traditional financial planning is for traditional retirement. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But what makes the military retiree situation so unique, obviously, is that you're going to have this mid-career transition. We call it military transition. I don't like those words because they have negative connotations. Really, this is a new opportunity to come out of the military with that pension. And if you've done like most people that talk to us, you've saved some money, had some retirement planning assets, but those assets are in accounts meant for the traditional retirement. And here you are at age 45, 50, where now it's like, all right, now we got the next job and the income's lined up, but I still got at least 10 more years of working, saving, accumulating assets, but income's good. I don't necessarily need to, build a huge nest egg because we have more stability and security than we had before. And so how do we, take what we've saved and rather than keep it at risk in the stock market, if we don't need to, and just transition it into another pension, another guaranteed stream of income so that you can kind of take a lot of those uncertainties about how am I going to replace that, active military income, post-military income combination, when you are fully retired. What does that actually look like? So you can say, okay, there's a plan for that rather than just make the account bigger so I can tap into it one day and, kind of have that general uncertainty out there. So that's the theme for today's discussion. I've got a couple slides to set the story a little bit. Mike, anything you want to hit on, to introduce this a little bit?
Yeah, no, I love that we're stepping into this, Scott. I have, as many of you know, conversations daily with our transitioning veterans. And the question comes up all the time is what to do with TSP and what are my options? And so again, as of everything we do, options is where we lean into. And so, so on most folks, I ask the question, what's the money for? Well, in some form, it's for my retirement. It's from providing, some sort of retirement benefit. And so then we step through, okay, well, let's guarantee that. And that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, and we often talk about that, obviously, with the survivor benefit plan decision, and that, is on the life insurance side of things. But what we do at US VetWealth, we focus on the insurance of assets, whether that's income sources or existing assets. So, we're always talking about insurance products and vehicles and solutions, for the most part, or as part of the overall, plan and war chest strategy. And so, while you can't do anything with TSP while you're on active duty, now when you're in post-military life, that's when you actually could roll it over if you want. And there's options. You can, of course, leave it in TSP. You could transition it to a new 401k plan, or if you want with the government, move it into your other TSP. Of course, you can roll it into a self-directed IRA or just an individual retirement plan, whether Roth or traditional. But what do you do with the money inside the IRA? Of course, now you've got all sorts of, self-directed. The idea is you can put it in your own mutual funds. You could use a financial professional or a firm or investment advisor, use some sort of portfolio. Technically, you can even do real estate inside that. But what most people don't realize is you can actually roll it in within the IRA structure. So if it's a Roth IRA, you'd maintain the tax status. Just one of the vehicles you can purchase is an annuity. And a fixed income annuity is what we'll be talking about today. But it's an option, as Mike said, it's an option. But the reason why you consider this as an option is what annuity means is stream of income. Your military pension is a stream of income. It is an annuity. SBP payment, should something happen, is an annuity technically. It's actually not a death benefit life policy in that kind of sense. So we're talking about streams of income, one way or the other here. And so the whole point of, doing the financial planning, saving, as you're during the accumulation phase is to build the nest egg so you could use it for a stream of income. And what gets forgotten about is, how do we manage that phase of our life? Because one way or the other, you're going to stop working and need to draw income. And we always say you can't bounce, you're not going to bounce the last paycheck or check on the day you die, your retirement. You're going to have assets. And so, managing that smartly so that you can get the most bang for the buck, whether that's your military pension, so you can keep more of that instead of paying for SPP, or if you have saved good retirement dollars that whether it's being able to guarantee you can use it while you're living and not be afraid to use it. I think that's what happens a lot of times is, all of a sudden your TSP is worth $1 million. The stock market drops 20%. Now we're afraid to even tap into it because we got to wait for it to bounce back. And just that level of uncertainty, if we can remove that, then we can truly, offer golden years. And these are cliche terms, of course, but instead of kind of looking at that linear timeline, those are the things we know are going to happen. What we don't know are the uncertainties. And we always talk about all these different risks. Usually we're talking about kind of the health risk. And from that perspective, we're saying the risk is you're not getting rewarded for being healthy. We just had a client who we thought had some sleep apnea, was probably going to get a less than standard rating, was going to need extra medical exams. And turns out, boom, got approved. And it's like, okay, cool. You got the reward. Now you have options, right? Military retirement, the main risk there is what's my next job, So once we've kind of knocked out some of these other uncertainties, the one thing we can never control is the financial risk. And just to show that, if you've never seen the U.S. debt clock, these numbers have been bouncing around a lot lately. But it's always been bad. This is, kind of I don't know who's sourcing this data or whatever, but anyways, this is just an illustration to show that, we've got issues in our economy. We're spending, did you hear we're spending $1 trillion every 100 days now?
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So
ridiculous. I just pulled it up, Scott. So I'm not sure when this screenshot was taken. But as of right now, that 33 trillion on the top left is 34.5. So that's exactly what you said, $1 trillion in a short period of time. Pretty soon, 1 trillion, 2 trillion. We're talking about real money here.
Yeah. And so that's why I think it's important to talk about actually what, given that situation and what the majority of the American, workforce is going through, this is yet another advantage that military retirees have that, you don't always see in the day to day. And of course, until we get that next job and know what the income is going to be, we're not really realizing that, hey, we're now in the kind of top 10% of income earners, sometimes even top 1%. Once you get into the kind of mid six figures of annual income, you were just talking about somebody we're talking with, with a spouse income, 06 retired, getting about 130, got a, DOD contract and job, I think another 170 from that. And then the spouse is employed, so they're making almost $500,000 a year. From one year to the next, kind of, almost doubled their income. And so when we think about all this in this context, yes, to keep up with the inflation and maybe they're going to be raising taxes, a lot of times the way out of this isn't to, build a bigger nest egg, but to build, more guaranteed or better, more increased streams of income, right? So one way to do that is, of course, your job. And so wherever you end up on this chart, that's up to you, of course, where your ambitions and skill sets take you. But then we also can't forget, this is now the income level and lifestyle that we're probably going to want to be closer to replacing, not what your active duty military pay was. You're going to be many years removed. The free benefits of the military, things you didn't have to pay for, the lower tax, that all balanced out by the time you're in your 60s, drawing income. So that's really what we're planning for. And, we've talked to hundreds and hundreds of retirees over the years. We hear the same thing over and over again. Folks are looking for more certainty in, what they want to do with their lives. Hey, what kind of career do I want? How do I want to spend my time on kind of a personal level? But then on the financial level, it's not like people are coming out excited about saying, hey, I want more insurance, or, let's get into this investment stuff, and build out portfolios. No, your focus is elsewhere. People tell us they just want a good, solid backup plan and kind of know where they're going to be able to draw on the resources from and how. So that's why we've redirected our strategy. Instead of being linear, because we don't know how things are going to play out in the future, we just want to be able to control the sources of our income. And so that's why the war chest is all about privatization. When you can qualify, then you get more control. All right. And the fact that we can still get growth on the accounts, we're going to keep getting profits from it. But as we said earlier, our focus is on safe money, guaranteeing what you've already earned, whether that's a pension or assets you've already accumulated. So protection is a big part of this. And oftentimes you got one or two of these things going for you, like with your pension. That's protected and privatized, but there's no way to profit from it. It's just a set thing. So our focus is redirecting benefits or assets you don't need to take risk for anymore, and put it into this plan where we can give you all three. From a conceptual standpoint, here's what Mike's going to get into this a little bit more, show us an example, run some actual numbers. But what we're saying, this is in my book. Forgot to mention my book. My new book, that's out. You can download it for free on our website. It's on Amazon as well, but the idea is just to have it up there so you can get a print version if you prefer that. But I got it at the cheapest price, or Kindle, of course, 99 cents. So leave us a good review. But you can download it from a website. I also send you, when you download it, access to a calculator where you can run some numbers and some other insights as well. But the idea here is, if you have saved, you got to have saved something in your TSP. But if you saved, let's say, $250,000 and you're still young, you're about 50 years old, plus or minus, and you're planning on working another good 10 years for retirement, is there a way to lock away what you've already earned into an account where it's protected? And that's where the annuity comes in. Annuity is an insurance vehicle, so we're insuring it. Still get growth over time. There's that 10-year accumulation period. We're not planning to touch it because, again, this is money inside an IRA. It's penalized if you touch it before age 59 and a half. So we're thinking around age 60 plus. But you could access it if you needed to. But we're focused on getting principal protection and gains that lock in, over those 10 years and beyond. But at some point, you can start drawing the income as long as you live. And if you live long enough, we think there's a very good chance, even for as little as $250,000, that you'll have been able to withdraw close to a seven-figure income, if not more. And that's on modest projections. So, Mike, just real quick, and kind of when we're talking about the difference between a traditional, what you'd put inside of an IRA, ETFs or mutual funds, those are stocks, your money's invested, you have a share in companies or a company, and you get rewarded based on that performance. These annuities are contractual agreements. And so it's not the same. That's why your money's not at risk. So we'll talk about that. Of course, when you have questions, this is stuff we get into a lot more detail. These presentations are meant to be high level to show you conceptually how they work, run some numbers so you can see what it looked like for you. And then, of course, we'll go into detail if you want to chat with us more. But Mike, if you want to share your screen, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, love to. Thanks, Scott. So I'm going to pull up an example of a recent case. I removed the client's name just to make it compliant. But the idea was, this is exactly the scenario we talked about. This is a officer 06 getting out, and he got out actually a year and a half ago, but he's 50 years old and he's ready to move his TSP into a more efficient vehicle. And we asked the question, by the way, can you see my screen, Scott?
Oh, no.
Okay, that'll be helpful.
Sorry.
That's all right. The share button helps, I think. There we go. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So again, the question I asked this individual was, if you saved, in this case, it was around $250,000 in your TSP over the last, 23 years of service. What's the goal? Well, what's that money for? And I asked this question, anyone that's on this call has heard me ask the question, and them probably. And the answer is generally, Mike, I'm not exactly sure, but it was something about retirement. And my thought is, gosh, if I could use this to give me that secondary income stream in retirement, in addition to my pension, that would make my retirement that much more fulfilling. And so many have heard of the Wall Street 4% withdrawal rule. It's actually 2.9% now. But the idea behind the 4 points withdrawal rule is, when I say Wall Street, the large investment companies, I'll pick on Merrill Lynch, will tell you, hey, you should be able to withdraw 4% of your assets and it should last you the rest of your life. And I don't like the word should. I'd rather replace should with guaranteed. And so the idea behind what we're talking about here is converting that 20 plus years of saving and investing and growth inside that TSP into a guaranteed lifetime income stream, a second pension, and an income stream that is paid for as long as you shall live and never goes away. And so that's kind of the message, and just being more efficient with the dollars. So again, I saved this. You've done the hard work. You've done the heavy lifting. You've saved the money. And now it's our job to protect it. And what if we can give a solution that has good growth, as Scott mentioned, 4, 6, 8% a year, so good growth, zero downside, right? We don't want to take losses when the market goes down. We only want to participate on the upside. And then when we're ready, and again, age 60 is a good proxy for a 50-year-old, I want to guarantee an income stream in addition to my military pension for the rest of my life. And so this vehicle is perfect to do that. So the company here is called Athene. Product is called Agility 10. It is what's called a fixed indexed annuity. So indexed means that's how the money grows. The money grows based on one or more index options. So think S&P 500, that is one of them. There are several others. The way these things work in practicality, the money we deposit, our premium, our TSP rollover, goes into the general account of the insurance company. So it's never directly invested in the stock market, but the money grows based on these indexes, one or more. And again, as I alluded to earlier, the good news is only to the upside. So the participation on the indexes is only to the upside. There's zero downside participation. So your worst case year is you don't lose anything. For example, 2022, the S&P was down 20%. Our clients that were in this product had zero. They didn't lose anything. So no downside. So a safe money approach, which, consistent with everything that we do. Good growth, but really the story is guaranteed income. Not just income, but with this particular contract, anytime we have a positive return, anytime the index return is positive, the income the next year goes up by the same percentage. So it's an increasing income story. Think of it as an inflation hedge. So for the rest of your life, anytime we have a positive return in this index, and again, 6 to 8 is kind of what it's averaged, 6 to 8% a year, we get a bump in income the following year. And again, it is a fully guaranteed lifetime income. So that's kind of the big picture. Of course, with anyone, the devil's in the details. So we talk about your individual scenarios. So this is an example, but to give you an idea of what this looks like. So if you look at my screen here, we have a 50-year-old male. He's an 06, and he had saved $250,000 inside his TSP. And so we used that $250, we rolled it into this Athene Agility contract. Again, what this does for us, the dollars remain tax deferred. So the dollars remain tax deferred just as they were inside of his TSP. The dollars grow based on these indexes we're looking at here. The dollars do not lose when the market corrects. And again, when he's ready in the future, guaranteed income. So this particular contract has a 10-year kind of accumulation period or wait period prior to taking income. So again, for a 50-year-old, there and abouts, early mid-40s to early mid-50s, this is my favorite story because of, number one, there's a nice bonus. You see on the bottom left here, there's a bonus of 45% of the premium we put in. So we put in $250,000, we get a bonus day one of $112. Well, that's kind of nice. The bonus goes into something called a benefit base. If you can see my screen there, what is that? The benefit base drives the income. So the bonus goes to the benefit base, which drives the income. And then we start income out at age 60. So I'm just going to jump down to the numbers here real quick. These are some of the index options we're looking at. We can go into a deeper dive on that at a future call. But one of the things that's kind of interesting, as I mentioned earlier, the likelihood of a 0% year is really the worst case scenario. So this dark blue column says, what's the probability of getting a zero? With these 7 indexes I've selected, this S&P 500, UBS, Bank of America, etc., the likelihood of a 0 year is very, very low. The most likely is this one at 1 out of 4. That means 3 out of 4 is going to have a positive turn. This one almost never has a 0 year. So very, very, very low volatility, very consistent returns. The far right is the average annual return of these indexes over time. So you see they've done quite well. I said 6 to 8 is a good proxy. As you can see, it's done a little bit better than that. So that's the returns on these indexes that we're looking at. So I'm just going to jump down to the numbers. These first numbers we're looking at are the guaranteed values. So if you see on my screen on the top, this assumes 0% return every single year. This assumes that every market in the whole world is down every single year forever. So again, I don't want to say Armageddon. I don't want to say impossible, but that is both Armageddon and impossible. But on a fully guaranteed basis, here's our $250 that went in. There's our 362 is with that $112,000 bonus. And then the income starts out at age 60 of about $14,000 a year. And this is the cumulative number. So this one, the income stays the same because, again, we're assuming zero growth. So this income is guaranteed for lifetime. I'm carrying it forward, carrying it forward, carrying it forward. So let's say this individual lives to 95. The income was about just under $500,000. So nothing spectacular about that. But again, this is guaranteed no return whatsoever. More appropriately is these numbers. This is based on what this contract has done over the last 10 years, as it reads on the left, most recent 10-year period. So again, not guessing, not hoping, not speculating, not looking back. Literally, if you own this contract over the last 10 years with these specific indexes, this is what you would have received. So there's the same numbers we looked at before. Now we have a little bit of growth on it, 4% the first year, 6%, 3%, et cetera. There's a big year. Now we're starting lead income at age 60. And the first year, it's $33,000. Here's the increasing income story. That year, the index was up 4.78%. The next year's income went up 4.78%. The next year went up 6. The income goes up 6. Here's a 3. It goes up slightly. Here's a big year, 24. It goes from $38,000 to $48,000. And then here's our worst case year, 0. In a 0 year, we get the same thing we got the last year. So anytime this is positive, the income goes up by the same percentage. Again, never goes down, never goes backwards. So here's cumulative income, 400,000, 500,000. I'm going to go to the next page. We're at 75 here. Now we're in our 80s. We're at 140, 150,000 per year, 160, 200,000 per year going forward. And God willing, this individual is in 95. He put $250,000 in this contract. He's taken $5.2 million out in income. The last thing, Scott, that I want to touch on, then I'll pass it back over to you, is you see all these zeros on the screen. So people ask, what does that mean? So there becomes a point in the future, and I'll go back up a page, where we've taken out more income than we put in. So in this case, at age 75, we've taken out about $1 million. At that point, there's no more value in the contract. However, this is a lifetime income benefit. So even when the value goes to 0, this income is paid for the rest of your life. Okay. So this money goes to you for the rest of your life, even when the values go to 0. So you live a long time, income for the rest of your life. What about the other side of the equation? What if you put your $250,000 in this and God forbid something happens? So we're going to go back to the top, and let's say that we put our $250,000 in this thing, and let's say at age 60, before we take any income out at all, our plane falls out of the sky and we pass away. Life happens, right? So in this case, any monies that have not been paid to you in income is paid to your family in the form of a death benefit. So if this individual, again, unfortunately passes at 60, he put his $250,000 in, his family gets $500,000. So anything that's not paid out goes to, and another way to look at it is down here. Let's say, for example, at age 70, passes away. Again, he's put in $250,000. He's taken around $500,000 in income. And there's still a death benefit of $354,000 that goes to the family. So the message is, again, live a long time, income for the rest of your life, fully guaranteed. Pass away early, unexpectedly, whatever, anything that's not been paid to you goes to your family. So we never lose control of the asset, which is meaningful. So that's kind of how these things work. I was very high level, very brief, but the idea behind this, it fits into everything that we do, which is save money, protecting your assets, protecting that TSP dollars, and making sure and turning it into that pension.
No, awesome. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, that's, these illustrations, and it's like any financial plan or prospectus. It's a lot, dozens and dozens of pages and stuff. The good thing about these illustrations is we can put in your variables and run them based on, exactly how the contract's set up and how the performance is done and so on and so forth. But just to go out on, again, what we're highlighting here, the principal protection, of course, is the big aspect that we're hitting on. Anything you put in, any growth that's received gets locked in. But we're not capped on the upside for the growth. You're not going to get all of it. We'll explain how that works. But the fact that if there were some good years, but if there's some really bad years or any bad years, we're staying at 0. And that's kind of the big thing here. And of course, guaranteed that lifetime income stream. That's the point of saving the money in the TSP or other retirement accounts. Of course, this can work for other retirement dollars as well. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you all for listening. Obviously, let us know if you have any questions. I can let me go on our website real quick and show where we've got some stuff where you can access more. So here's our new website. We're still working on it. But when you go to the who we serve section, if you are a military retiree, you can dive in a lot more to, what we're doing, what our strategy is, how we're different, why we're specific to the retirees. But of course, you can get the book. So download the book. It really goes into everything we talked about today and shows some more specifics on the various risks that we're avoiding or that we should be aware of, specifically what we call the sequence of returns risk. And that is the risk that if on that day, let's say age 60, you want to start withdrawing your money and it happens to be in a year where there's a big market correction, what happens if your account does drop 20% and then you also got to take out that 4% as well, and that starts to compound on negative years. And so we got a calculator that shows you how to play around with that. And cool, we'd love to get your thoughts on it, and let us know if you got any questions or anything you'd like for us to chat about on a future episode of a War Chest Workshop. But that's all for now.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep, thank you.
Hey there, this is your host, Jen Amos. Thanks again for listening to today's episode of Holding Down the Fort by U.S. VetWealth. Visit holdingdownthefortpodcast.com to access the full show notes of this episode, including resources mentioned and bonus content. Once again, the website is holdingdownthefortpodcast.com. Lastly, stay after the outro for a little something extra. Thanks again, and chat soon. Bye for now. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me in the outro. I hope that you enjoyed this discussion between my husband, Scott, and Mike Seabolt, our life insurance case design specialists, about how military retirees can turn their TSP savings into lifetime income. If you were really taken by this conversation and you want to learn more or speak with anyone from our company, you can actually visit our website, usvetwealth.com, and that'll be in the show notes as well. And you can sign up for a complimentary strategy session. So in this strategy session, actually, I'm going to pull up the website right now. You're not on the screen, but I'm going to pull it up for myself so I can read it to you. So when you visit the complimentary discovery consultation website, you will see 4 specific steps. First, it'll tell you to watch the video that's on this page, pretty much understand what to expect when you fill out our complimentary discovery consultation application. The second thing you'll do is you'll fill out the intake form, to be able to have this complimentary discovery consultation. And then from there, you will be scheduled to be on a Zoom call with one of our colleagues. And then afterward, you'll get a follow-up email with additional resources or recap of the conversation, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, if you're interested in that, again, it's free. It's absolutely free. There's no strings attached. Really, our primary goal here at US VetWealth is to offer you alternative education and information and resources that are different. It's a different perspective from what, let's say, the government websites say. It's neither good nor bad. It's just different. And that's one thing we often stress when we talk about these things, because we often get that comment of oh, are you anti SPP or anti TSP? No, not at all. If anything, we just really value, education. We value giving you different perspectives, especially if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for a different perspective on your military benefits. So once again, if you want to have a complimentary strategy session with us, go ahead and visit usvetwealth.com today. Also check out the show notes of this episode, or visit holdingdownthefortpodcast.com if you do not know how to check the show notes of this episode. And other than that, if you want more stuff, that's already a lot of stuff, but if you're like, Jen, I'm so deprived because you're not releasing 2 episodes a week, how dare you? If you want, wow, first and foremost, how dare I? But yeah, if you want more content, you could always check out our private podcast, Inside the Fort, which you can have access to now by visiting holdingdownthefortpodcast.com/portal. And I'll see you there. I'll see you on the inside. Otherwise, I'll chat with you all in the next episode. Bye for now.